Everyone in the Trump administration are compulsive, broken liars. Pete Hegseth is a disaster. He's a nightmare. They appoint untreated alcoholic, Fox News personality, frat bro, white nationalist tattoos, nut job to be the leader of the Department of Defense. It is insanity. And here he does. He's texting his buddies war plans. They would freak out if Hillary Clinton did this, which they did, and she didn't text war plans. And then when he's confronted about it, he lies. Watch the clip.
Sure. One question.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in The Atlantic? And were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning. And you see, we've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration.
Okay, I've heard enough. It's unbelievable that this is the Secretary of Defense and MAGA only has this one playbook. Oh, they're frauds. These guys can never take personal accountability for anything. I guarantee you, if I played one of them in a tennis match and I won, they wouldn't come shake my hand. They cannot take accountability for anything, which is the most unmasculine, inhuman thing on the planet. But listen to the community notes. This is hilarious. So this person, first community note is a spokesperson for the National Security Council, Brian Hughes, confirmed the authenticity of the group chat to which Jeffrey Goldberg, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, was inadvertently added. And then the community notes go on and on. Mike Johnson confirmed it. And there was actually like 6 community notes under this. 6. And so that's how dishonest these people are. This is a complete embarrassment. Our country, we have to realize this is not normal, and they are making all of this normal all of the time. And I get a little bit scared. Like, there's a lot of hilarious memes about this yesterday, and I found myself chuckling. But does memeing this somehow normalize their incompetence, and then we just start laughing it off? And that worries me a bit.
I'm completely worried about it. Number one, war plans on a group text is repulsive. And I know that Trump stored classified documents in his bathroom, so secrets and classification, he doesn't give a shit. But we're talking about people's lives. And for him to get on TV and lie through his teeth, and we are not seeing an uprising across the board in both parties that he needs to be removed, is a mystery. Why is that not happening? And then here's the deal too. I have never felt as an American citizen that our national security was as compromised as I do under the Trump administration. And if I am planning on attacking the United States, what the fuck? This guy is a complete clown car of stupid. He is incompetent. I've never felt I've never felt more concern about the state of the U.S. military than I do with this guy. And for everybody to act like it's normal, like you said, oh, well, we'll just meme it. This is a huge deal. This is important stuff. And everybody needs to be taking to the streets and saying, we cannot have this. But as you always say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. This guy, the whole team around Trump, is a bunch of nuts.
So the Democratic response, Pete Buttigieg came out, called it a massive fuck up, and spoke very firmly about it. But if you remember, Alyssa Slotskin was the senator that Chuck Schumer appointed to be the response speech to the joint session of Congress. This is a moderate. This is the Democrats' plan to roll out. This is why the Democrats lose. Look at this pathetic response. She says, I've worked at the White House for both Democrat and Republican presidents, and I've never seen this kind of mishandling of classified info. It's sloppy at best and puts the military involved in these sensitive operations at risk. Let me explain why, and then puts a thread. Okay, I'm never going to click and read the thread
Never.
because your opening statement is so lackluster, not forceful enough, and doesn't meet this moment. And this is what pisses me off about moderate Democrats. It is pick me, pick me, pick me. I'm desperate for somebody in MAGA or some Republican to say I'm decent or I'm moderate. They're never going to, Senator Slotkin. This is the time that you do an actual caps lock. All the times that Trump does because he's mad about his portrait, or he's mad about the 60 Minutes interview, or he's mad about, somebody saying he has small hands and he's caps locking. That's insanity. This is the time, if you're a United States senator, that you do not do a thread. It is very simple. Pete Hegseth needs to resign, or we need to impeach him. Our military is compromised. Caps lock, and that's what it needs to be. And then you need to call all of your fellow senators, and everybody needs to be on the same page. But producing a thread and saying it's sloppy is, what are we doing here? What are we doing? It's so disproportionate.
It's so disproportionate. And Elise Slotkin was a CIA intelligence officer. And this is her response. It was sloppy. It's unbelievable how ill-equipped the Democrats are to meet this moment. Pete Buttigieg, great, but he's not in power.
Right.
That's right.
She's an actual sitting senator, and that was her response. But okay, this is something that this story is a couple of days old, but to me, it's so important. And I've been traveling, and so we haven't been able to discuss this. But Witkoff is this guy who is basically usurping Marco Rubio right now in the State Department because Trump really likes him. And this guy goes to Russia and sits down with Vladimir Putin. And before you see this video, I want you to imagine that you have all of the resources of the United States federal government. I'm talking psychological profilists from the FBI, from the CIA. You could be prepped for days on end. And people that are very smart, that study personalities, that are make psychological profiles, should prep you as to what you're walking into when you go and sit down with a murderous dictator. Listen to this clip of this guy's takeaway from his meeting with Vladimir Putin.
In the second visit that I had, it got personal. The President Putin had commissioned a beautiful portrait of President Trump from the leading Russian artist, and actually gave it to me and asked me to take it home to President Trump, which I brought home and delivered to him. It's been reported in the paper, but it was such a gracious moment. And told me a story, Tucker, about how when the president was shot, he went to his local church and met with his priest and prayed for the president, not because he was the president of he could become the president of the United States, but because he had a friendship with him and he was praying for his friend. It was, can you imagine sitting there and listening to
how weak and how stupid are these guys that I'm an armchair psychologist. I'm an armchair foreign policy expert. I just know a little bit here and there. I immediately know that Vladimir Putin knows that these people fall prey to superficial flattery. I further know that Vladimir Putin knows that at the epicenter of a lot of these people that are appointed under Trump, they're the crazy Christian Americans. So he uses the church thing. They're getting played. And the fact that he then goes and repeats it and thinks, oh my God, Vladimir Putin loves us. He's praying for Trump. He's getting this great portrait done. And he says it out loud. It tells you there's just this huge portion of people in American leadership that are dumb and or willfully dumb. And I believe now, and we've thought this for a long time, that the entire outfit, all of them want to dismantle democracy. That is the end game. They want it dismantled. They want a dictatorship. When you start from Pete Hegseth and his group chat, which he's probably raging drunk when he does it, all the way down. And they had Secretary Scott Bessent in there. Why is he on a war thing? It's utter insanity.
First of all, the fact that he's on Tucker Carlson's podcast, when we know that Tucker Carlson is a complete Putin loyalist, tells you all you need to know. I'm convinced every day that goes by, the Trump administration is an arm of the Putin government. There's just no doubt about it. And you make such a great point. He has the very best at his disposal with psychological experts and to be able to go in prepared not to fall prey to Vladimir Putin. And he runs around and has his lips plastered to his ass. And I just want to say, as we saw with the portrait of Trump in Colorado, how mad he was, Putin, like, he couldn't have scripted it any better. He gives him this gorgeous portrait. I'm sure his hands look big. He looks thin. His makeup is completely blended.
He's a former KGB agent. He knows exactly what he's doing. I want to move on to this last one. So Trump has opened up a White House faith advisor, and this is a tongue talker. This is a grifter, and her name is Paula White. And she's just put out a commercial, and this is just unbelievable. Watch this.
I believe that when you honor God on Passover, starting on April 12th at sundown through Good Friday on the 18th and concluding on Easter Sunday, you can receive these 7 supernatural blessings for you and your house. According to Exodus 23, God will assign an angel to you. He'll be an enemy to your enemies. He'll give you prosperity. He'll take sickness away from you. He will give you long life. He'll bring increase in inheritance, and he'll give a special year of blessing. You're not doing this to get something, but you're doing it in honor to God, realizing what you can receive.
For your special Passover offering of $1,000 or more as the Holy Spirit leads, you will also receive the beautiful 10-inch Waterford Crystal Cross. Don't miss your moment to release 7 supernatural blessings and
Riff-raff, knick-knack. God's going to assign an angel to you. He's going to hate who you hate. This is all this spiritual warfare, prosperity gospel, racket, grift. And I just think there has to be a place post-Trump, if we maintain our democracy, where this is fraud, where this is complete fraud. She knows that she can't ensure that if there is a God, they're assigning an angel to somebody. This is ripping off dumb people and people that fall prey to this religious fear mongering. And look at the top of the ticket. You have Donald Trump, riffraff, knickknacks, and Kash Patel, same thing. And it goes down. And now we've got this nut for $1,000. And so many of these MAGA people, that probably aren't going to get their Social Security checks next month, are going to buy that crystal cross, and they're going to think they've got an angel assigned to them, and that God's going to hate who they hate, and they hate the libs. So then God's going to hate the libs. I just think, are we really a first world country? I mean, is this really, like, this is, people think this is fucking normal. It's insane.
It's insane. And how transparent it is. If you want all these blessings, give us $1,000. They didn't even try to describe it. Like Trump, when he sends emails, it's like, we need your help, do all this. And then once you get into the email, then he asks for money. Like, you can only contribute if you, like, to answer the poll, you have to contribute. This was just so transparent. And here's what I want to know. Who's getting the $1,000? Who gets a cut?
Obviously, Paula White is getting it. And,
she giving Trump a cut?
I doubt it. I doubt that really gets his beak that wet, considering all of the other stuff. But who knows? Maybe. I mean, but she's a grifter. He surrounded himself by grifters. They're all grifting off this same base.
Right.
And instead of taxing billionaires, they want to grift as much as they can. And all right, guys, I'm in Brazil, so Pumps will be solo later today, and maybe tomorrow I might be able to hop on, maybe not, but we're trying to get to 1 million subs. Please subscribe, and we'll see you all later.